This is not the old battlefield, where artillery firepower and steel strength determined victory or defeat. This is Crimea, the logistical heart, the strategic lifeline of Russia. And now, Ukraine's suicide FPV drones, the invisible assassins, have appeared. They rush silently, tearing through the night, turning entire armored formations worth hundreds of millions of dollars into blackened chunks of metal. A lightning-fast, chillingly precise attack and an undeniable message. On this battlefield, there is no longer a safe place. In a secret control room, more than 200 kilometers from Jankoy, the Ukrainian reconnaissance team set up an observation post. The target was the M17 highway, the main traffic artery leading deep into Crimea. From the sky, reconnaissance aircraft operated silently. Flying at extremely high altitudes, beyond the range of conventional anti-aircraft guns, they continuously sent images revealing every movement of Russian troops under the cover of night. The reconnaissance images appeared. A large military convoy with all vehicle lights off, moving south. This was not just a supply convoy, but a large-scale armored regiment with at least 32 combat and support vehicles. The convoy included 14 main battle tanks, mainly T-72B3 and T-80 models, along with accompanying armored vehicles and anti-aircraft vehicles. Практики експерти нотили reckless overconfidence in convoy's movement. All pre-programmed air defense scams, all vulnerabilities along the route, especially narrow bands, bridges and forested areas, were clearly marked on the digital map. The reconnaissance team identified a key area to set a trap. It was a narrow section of the M17, surrounded by trees, creating an unavoidable natural bottleneck. This area was only about 15 kilometers from the convoy's assembly point. This was ideal terrain to eliminate mobility and prevent any dispersal attempts by the armored formation when attacked. Detailed information on target coordinates, anticipated movement patterns, and the precise attack timeline was immediately relayed to the FPV drone strike team. The final attack order was activated. The target was locked. 23:30. From carefully camouflaged launch sites along the front line, Ukraine's first wave of FPVs was activated. There was no sound to warn of their approach. They silently raced through the darkness. Each carried a hand-assembled warhead, but was controlled by the steady hands of pilots hundreds of kilometers away from the target. (23:45). The drone dove down at a near vertical angle, aiming precisely at the turret of the lead T-72B3 tank. The impact created a devastating explosion. The T-72B3 burst into a huge fireball, and the ammunition compartment exploded, creating a bright column of smoke in the night sky. This was the first physical bottleneck, sealing off the deadly stretch of road. Immediately, other drones spread out according to the attack plan, blocking any attempt to retreat by hitting the armored vehicles at the rear of the convoy and the fuel trucks. Explosions followed one after another, turning the narrow stretch of the M17 into a fiery battlefield. The tactical objective was achieved, completely severing mobility and resupply. The chaos reached its peak. Russian soldiers frantically jumped out of the armored vehicles, desperately seeking shelter between the two rows of trees. Panic shouts and intermittent radio signals echoed. Personal anti-aircraft guns fired in desperation. In the reconnaissance aircraft's field of vision, red dots moved chaotically, trying to escape the deadly pursuit of Ukrainian FPV drones. At the nearby military district command center, fully aware of the disaster and the vital importance of the M17 route, an urgent call for reinforcements was issued. Russian forces immediately launched a counterattack by mobilizing the nearest combat air forces. Two Sukhoi Su-30 SM fighter jets received orders to take off immediately. Their objective was to fly quickly to the M17 area and use artillery fire to destroy the Ukrainian drone control teams and reconnaissance forces. However, this attack was stopped from afar.
Українська інтелідженс квитко підхопила сигнал і Flight Pass Fighter Jets immediately after they took off. Immediate air defense units opened fire. Two missiles shot up, tearing through the night sky. One Su-30 SM was seriously hit, caught fire and crashed to the ground.
The remaining Su-30 SM was forced to abort its mission and make an emergency retreat. Russia's rescue efforts were completely neutralized, leaving the armored convoy on the ground with no protective shield whatsoever. The M17 highway, Russia's strategic lifeline, was officially locked down and neutralized in a matter of minutes. The convoy was now nothing more than a stationary target. Once the first wave completed its blocking mission, the second wave was activated under the codename The Destroyer. This time, the mission was to wipe out all remaining resistance. From the command center, the commander's voice rang out, short and cold. Prioritize air defense targets, then wipe out the armored vehicles. The thermal camera screen from the reconnaissance aircraft quickly picked up movement, an air defense vehicle desperately trying to start its radar amid the smoke and chaos. It was the Tor M2 system, one of Russia's most effective short-range air defense shields, and the only remaining threat to the entire drone campaign. Three FPV drones were guided in a split formation, attacking simultaneously.
One targeted the radar cluster, while the other two dove into the rear ammunition compartment. In an instant, the entire air defense system was reduced to a fireball. The threat was neutralized. With no air defense left to protect them, the remaining FPV drones switched to predator mode. They flew low, hiding under the canopy of trees and thick smoke. Their target was the immobilized tanks, aiming for the engine compartment roof, the fatal weakness of all armored vehicles. Through the infrared lens, each dive was a chillingly precise explosion. Engines shut down permanently. Tanks stood dead in the middle of the road. Armor melted. Metal fragments twisted like tinfoil under the intense heat. Without the need for heavy artillery, in just a few short minutes, the entire powerful armored regiment became motionless steel corpses, proof of the destructive effectiveness of FPV technology. Before dawn broke, reconnaissance aircraft scanned the entire M17 battlefield. The final report was irrefutable evidence. Images showed that 10 of the 14 main battle tanks had been completely destroyed. Supply trucks were burning fiercely, and fuel depots had exploded into huge clouds of smoke. Only a few light armored vehicles luckily escaped the narrow road and hid deep in the forest. On the radar map, the M17 area was marked in bright red. Mission accomplished. In less than 45 minutes, a powerful mechanized regiment was completely wiped out. The failure on the M17 line was not only a loss in manpower, but also a profound psychological shock to the Russian army. The fact that an elite mechanized regiment was eliminated in just 45 minutes by cheap FPV drones showed that no logistics area was safe anymore. As the smoke of gunfire gradually dissipated over the southern fields, the ground still trembled under the traces of thousands of artillery shells. On the M17 road, the steel carcasses of tanks still lay scattered, mingled with the acrid smell of war. But amid the ashes, the yellow and blue flag still flew, like a flame that never dies. Further away, on the hills around Kherson and Kharkov, the cemeteries of Ukrainian soldiers stretch to the horizon. Thousands of tombstones stand in rows, each grave covered with a small flag fluttering in the wind. Beneath each tombstone lies a fallen son. They no longer hold guns, but their souls still guard their homeland. The surviving soldiers pass by in silence. They do not forget that it is because of the blood of their comrades that Ukraine still stands today. Each step they take is a promise, each glance a vow, never to let the blue and yellow flag fall. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to those who fell, and to those who still stand in the wind, holding the yellow-blue flag that will never fall.